Happy Friday. Welcome into Morning in the Valley. Jeff Bidwell with you. It is, where are we at? October the 17th. This week has been a blur for a variety of reasons, but we are wrapping things up now 17 days from the start of the college basketball season. Coming up today, we have a lot to get to. We're going to talk with Dr. Rich Tyner. He is the radio voice for the Belmont women. We'll continue our preseason previews there. We'll hear from the commissioner. Media day for the women was yesterday. Was able to pepper him a little bit about conference expansion, among other things. So we will talk about that. And we're going to talk about watch lists today. A certain topic of conversation from corners of the Valley over the last 72 hours, 48 hours. We'll get to all that coming up in just a bit. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the program over at Morning in the Valley on YouTube. It is free. Share, comment, like, all of it. Very much appreciate it as we are continuing to grow a little bit every day, and very much looking forward to getting the season started and getting this little bus continuing to roll. All right. Again, yesterday was media day for the Missouri Valley Conference women, virtual media day. So we did it, say almost at this point, the old-fashioned way by Zoom. The commissioner, all the coaches able to go through one by one for a couple of questions for each from the assembled media. But it was really our first time to have, my first time at least, to have Jeff Jackson, commissioner of the Missouri Valley Conference, virtually in front of my face, since he was on this program a couple of months ago. And certainly the conversation that I wanted to press with him was, let's talk expansion, because that's what I feel obligated to do every time we are certainly speaking. And, again, the March to the Arch podcast guys, a couple of months, I guess it's already been 2.5 months ago, early August, with the, hey, we're hearing it's going to be 14 teams next year in the Missouri Valley. And look, we have had already some dominoes falling from a conference realignment standpoint here in the last, really the last 2 months. You had Tennessee Tech leaving the Ohio Valley Conference for the SoCon. And then just a couple of days ago, you had Little Rock leaving for this new United Athletic Conference. And those teams, look, I've talked about Little Rock as being a potential addition to the Valley if they were going to expand to 14, and looking around for, regional teams that again, it's a sliding scale of how much they make sense to be an addition. But for a school that doesn't play football, with a school with some tradition, thinking, look, they've made investments that they could be a team that could potentially be an addition, but they're now off the board. But again, it just comes down now to the realignment dominoes are starting to fall around the country. And sometimes it's not necessarily the first wave of teams that find new homes. Sometimes it becomes the next wave where the league they're currently in feels like it's starting to break apart, and they've got to go find somewhere to go. And maybe that's where, you pick up some pieces if you are patient and find the right fit. So in the end, it was, I got exactly what I expected out of Jeff Jackson when asking him about where are we with this potential expansion for 2026, 27 and beyond. And so here was the commissioner yesterday when it was just a simple, hey, where are we at? And this was the commissioner's response.
Seen what we would consider in our footprint, whether in our footprint or contiguous states. Certainly there's been some change, and I would expect we're going to see a little bit more change in the next couple of weeks. However, I think in the Missouri Valley, the way that our board, and when I'm referring to our board, I'm talking about our presidents and chancellors, we feel really good about how we are made up right now. We've got 11 great institutions. Their investment, their commitment to what we do, whether it's in basketball or baseball or volleyball, or all those things seem to be going in a positive direction. And we say that knowing there's a lot of headwinds out there in regards to whether it's the House settlement, now how we now interact with our student athletes when it comes to compensation. All those things are obviously different. I think the Missouri Valley Conference, probably, if you asked me this question last year, Jeff, it's the same answer, in terms of we're very mindful of what's going on in the environment. if there's an opportunity where our board comes to the decision that they think they have a legitimate chance to improve the Valley in terms of competition, in terms of student athlete experience and promotional and marketing opportunities, I don't think we would hesitate to take advantage of that. So we're always mindful of what's going on, head on a swivel, to use a football phrase, and we'll see what happens. So it's not an absolute no, it's not an absolute less. We're just monitoring the community and seeing if there's something out there that we would deem, to be a special opportunity.
So, yeah, that was basically the answer from a year ago when Missouri State announced they were leaving, and we asked, "Hey, what's the plan?" And uh, I expected nothing less. I mean, that was a masterclass in saying a lot without really saying anything. Because look, it does him no service to tip his hand like, yeah, we've got a couple in the hopper, we're just waiting to sign the paperwork and come on. So but the key part there is, and I think that's always just sort of the um the temperature you're taking is the door closed on this. And his answer obviously was, we're not. Is it an absolute yes? No. Is it an absolute no? No. So we wait. But as has been brought up ad nauseum over the last couple of months since the March to the Arch guys had the 14 teams next year, just a reminder that in 2021, when the latest expansion came, when Belmont, Murray State, and UIC came, that Belmont announced they were coming in September, but it wasn't until January that Murray State and UIC said they were on their way. So we're still, at this point, we're 3 months away from that time frame to announce that somebody's coming in 26, 27. There's so much logistical work that goes on behind the scenes that there has to be some patience involved in it. But that's where we are. So as much of a non-answer of an answer as it was kind of what we expected. The door is open, but the part that kind of stuck out, and he kind of slipped it in, was we've seen a couple institutions change here, and that we expect more to happen soon. So that'll be the part you just kind of keep your eye on around the landscape, especially regionally, of any other movement that happens, and how that may, again, maybe not directly, but in the wake of, in that second wave of movement, how that will affect the Missouri Valley Conference. One other thing that Commissioner Jackson talked about yesterday, he was asked about the Jackie Stiles, which the Missouri Valley Conference Women's Player of the Year. Of course, Jackie Stiles played at then Southwest Missouri State. Now, of course, Missouri State, a 3-time Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year. When she graduated, she was the all-time leading scorer in college basketball. She's still 5th at this point, nearly 3,400 career points. Took SMS to the Final Four in 2001. And the question was asked, hey, Missouri State's not in the conference anymore. So is the Jackie Stiles Trophy, does it still exist? And the answer was absolutely. And I think it's the right move. I mean, to strip the name away would be, I don't know, petty would almost be the right word for it. But, Commissioner Jackson's thought process on it was pretty simple. He's just like, look, conference realignment is the phrase he used was par for the course. And to diminish something that someone did while they were under our umbrella is just not anything he's interested in doing. And as he mentioned, he's like, look, every year they honor folks from into the Missouri Valley Conference Athletics Hall of Fame, and they're from a multitude of schools that have long left the Missouri Valley. So to honor the history and the heritage of this conference, and certainly one of the absolute all-time greats, and everything she did was under the banner of the Missouri Valley Conference, I think that's a wise move in the end, to be able to keep Jackie and that trophy and her legacy attached to the Missouri Valley. And certainly this year we'll have a new winner of the Jackie Stiles Trophy, as Katie Dinnerbeer from Drake, who won it the last 2 years, obviously has moved on, but that is a good deal, I think, certainly for the conference. Speaking of Katie Dinnerbeer, some news came out yesterday. She will be doing some radio work this year with Hunter Phillips over there on the Drake broadcast. So some select games she'll be slapping her expertise on. So I thought that was a pretty neat addition in all there. All right, hey, let's talk watch lists. shall we? We had a lovely release. I can't think it came out just after we went off the air on Wednesday. The Missouri Valley Conference releasing watch lists for both the men's and the women's side, and in all, there were 36 women on the watch list, 39 men, and yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. This year, the whole preseason stuff has been different this year from a, we still haven't gotten, I don't believe the preseason polls come out for the women yet. The men's came out a week or so ago, and it was just the top 5. We didn't get to see 6 through 11. We don't get all preseason first team, a preseason player of the year. We're just getting watch lists. And I think I understand the exercise from a year ago. There was so much frustration and struggle almost of you're trying to vote on a preseason all conference team. And there were so few returners a year ago that it was just, I don't know what I'm picking from. And so I think in reaction to that, they went for this watch list deal this year. And, again, especially on the men's side, but I still think that it applies on the women's side that, you have 3 all conference players for both the men and the women that are returning, but there's a lot of other talented returners. And certainly there are all kinds of newcomers that will be able to impact the landscape of the Valley this year. But I was like, I don't think it was going to be as much of a challenge this year hey, we got to give you our top 5 or give you a top 10 for you to vote out an all preseason team. But for whatever reason, they decided we're just doing a watch list, and some teams gave 2. Some team, Murray State's men, gave 6. I mean, it was like, here's our whole roster. The one thing that I thought, and especially for Murray State, but some other schools that, sent 4 people in, because the schools are the one that chose the watch list. That is my understanding, is that they were the ones that made those decisions. And so you sort of see some hand tipping from the coaches of, yeah, these are folks that we think are really going to be able to impact what we're doing this year. And that has been, with so many newcomers in so many instances, you're like, I'm not really sure, how these newcomers are going to fit in and sort of what the, in the middle of October, what the coaches think of what their impact will be. And then you're like, oh, okay, well, they may have averaged 1.2 points wherever they may have been at their last stop, but their head coach is expecting a lot more out of them this year. So that, for me, that was as important a part of the exercise as opposed to, hey, here's the 36 or 39 players on the watch list to look ahead to. But watch lists aplenty. So that is it was an interesting it was an interesting little internet wildfire we had on Wednesday for sure when those came out. We have a old friend alert. As speaking of player of the year, AJ Green, the former 2-time player of the year at Northern Iowa, he is a very, very wealthy young man today. He has signed a contract extension with the Milwaukee Bucks for 4 years and $45 million, which is really a pretty remarkable ascension for him from again, an unbelievable college career at Northern Iowa to then have just checking on our guest right now. I apologize for the split focus. Was an undrafted free agent coming out of Northern Iowa, and then was able to sign a 2-way deal with the Bucks. Ended up getting a standard contract, as they call it, and then to be able to now get an extension, which, oh, by the way, is fully guaranteed. You so often see these professional contracts that there's all sorts of escape hatches and the like for the organization, especially NFL contracts, where the only thing you need to worry about is the guaranteed money. It's like, oh, I've signed a 7-year, $200 million contract and $30 million of it's guaranteed. That's great. That's all the money you're getting. The other 170 is very much up for debate. But here, 4 years, $45 million, fully guaranteed for AJ Green. So just a remarkable, like I said, ascension for him from undrafted free agent to now generational wealth, and just a heck of a player. And he has he has earned all of it that he has gotten. So congratulations to him. Certainly congratulations to the Northern Iowa basketball family, who may in this era of NIL and revenue sharing we'll see if there's a little donation under the tree at some point from AJ, but that's a big deal. That's a big deal and a great deal, and certainly a big piece of the Bucks. And they obviously love having him there. And 4 years, $45 million is that's okay. That's okay. It's like, look, that's we can get by on 4 years, $45 million. I think I can speak for all of us that we can get by with 4 years and $45 million. The other big news from the conference here in the last day or two, they have released the TV dates and sort of clearances for both games on the ESPN family of networks and then the CBS family of networks as well. And the one thing that, has jumped out, I guess, is that March 1st is, I believe it's a Sunday, if memory serves. March 1st is the last day of the regular season. And we have some absolute games that will be, if this season plays out the way we think it may, with just a lot of really good teams at the top, and there's going to be a battle, there's going to be battles within the battle, the battle for number one and who's a regular season champion. And then also, it's the wrestling match for the top five, seeds, because 1 through 5 obviously don't play on Thursday in St. Louis. And what you have is a setup on the last game of the regular season, and whether this was scheduling luck or if this was the mad scientist putting this together. These are the 4 games that will be played on March the 1st. You have UIC at Indiana State. Those two will need to exceed expectations, certainly to be in the mix when it comes to the final day of the regular season. The other 3 games, Murray State is at Bradley, Belmont is at Illinois State, and Northern Iowa is at Drake. I mean, it is not far of a reach to say that one of, if not more than one of those games will impact who is cutting down the nets and winning a regular season championship. Now, the neat part about that is that of those, the 4 games in all, and we don't want to exclude UIC and Indiana State at this point, but of those 4 games, 2 of them will be on national television. That one game will go on to the CBS Sports Network, and one of those games will go on to ESPN2. There are ESPN has the ESPN, and it's going to be ESPN2 or ESPNU. I believe there's 9 wild card games that will be chosen as the season goes along. And those games, again, you'll see it come out about 2 weeks ahead of time. They'll make the decision. That's the best game on that night. That's the game we're going to air. You also have the CBS Sports Network, which I believe has 7 wild card games. They have a couple standalone games as well. And then CBS Sports Network will also host the Missouri Valley tournament, the Arch Madness semifinals on Saturday in St. Louis before CBS proper takes over things on Sunday there in St. Louis. And there are a few overlap dates on those wildcard days, where you will have more than one Missouri Valley game on national television, one on one of the ESPN networks and then one over on the CBS Sports Network as well. So it just caught my eye, and there's a couple days. I think it was CBS yesterday that put out their, all the CBS games, and there are more. I don't know that there's any, and I may have missed one from memory from 48 hours ago. I don't know that ESPN has any standalone. We know today this game will be on ESPN2 or ESPNU. There might be one, and that's it. CBS Sports Network has a handful. And there's some times all over the place. I believe it's when Northern Iowa comes to Murray State. They won't play until 9:00 Central Time. So I'm already prepping my nap. So I'm ready to roll courtside that night, because that's a late situation. But I think the other part of this is with the way that the schedule has laid out this season is that with the fact that on the men's side, when you have games on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, per usual, but most leagues are still, the busy nights of the week are always, it's Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Tuesdays and Fridays and even Mondays to an extent are generally slow days on the college basketball calendar. So when Valley teams, whoever it may be, is either getting that ESPN slot or getting a CBS Sports Network slot, you're not having to navigate a lot of other competition. Yeah, you're on national TV already, and that's a huge spotlight, but there's not a lot of other spotlights going on. So a lot of eyeballs are going to have a chance to see some Valley teams this year, and what we hope and assume will be a lot of good Valley teams this year. And it's sort of become the running theme here with me for the last week or two. We got a lot of good teams who can be very good and who can be great, and that is what we will find out here soon enough. It looks like we have had. We're probably going to have to punt on Dr. Rich Tyner today. We will hope to get him back on Monday and try to talk about some Belmont women. We do have 3 games again this weekend. Tonight, Austin P is at Southern Illinois. First exhibition game for the Salukis. There is no streaming TV, anything of the like there. You get to check in and listen to the sweet velvety tones of Luke Martin and Rodney Watson on the radio call there. Tomorrow, that's a 6 o'clock start in Carbondale. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock Central Time, Murray State will play their first exhibition game. That is on the road at Xavier. That has been now released. There is streaming available, and it will be you have to go to Xavier's website. It's a paywall. It's $10 if you want to watch it. And honestly, for the in-house feeds, that kind of feels like the way of the future with NIL and rev share. You're trying to raise all the money you can, and so you charge $5, $10, whatever it may be. You make a couple extra $1,000 with the 100 people or so that may want to watch the stream, and maybe more. That you'll take that money and run. But that is we'll have the radio as well. But there is a stream, but it will cost tomorrow or on Sunday rather. And this game is at 2 o'clock Central Time. Ryan Peden will take Illinois State up to Champaign to take on the Illini, and that is what I've already forgotten. 2 o'clock. Yeah, that. Speaking of naps, we could use one right now. 2 o'clock on Sunday. That game will be streamed on the Big Ten Plus network. So there's usually, depending on your Big Ten Plus usage throughout the year, there's oftentimes it's a free month or a free week even trial that you can maybe try to get and watch the game for nothing, and just make sure you cancel your subscription so you don't get dinged for the whatever it is for the following month. But that is the situation there. So there is at least a streaming component we'll be able to watch. So we will we'll talk about all 3 of those games coming up on Monday. Again, hopefully we'll be able to track down Dr. Rich Tyner, the Belmont radio voice, and continue our season previews as we're now, we get to Monday, we are 2 weeks away from showtime. So we're going to pound through the rest of these previews and make sure we get everybody covered as we roll into the start of the 2025-26 season. All right, that does it for this morning's edition of Morning in the Valley. Glad you were with us today. Again, if you have not done so already, please go to YouTube, subscribe for free, search out Morning in the Valley, like, share, comment, all that good stuff, and get this out. Please share it. Let your Valley-loving friends know. If you like what we're doing here, come on back and send them our way. We've got plenty more coming as the season goes on. So we'll see you on Monday morning right here on Morning in the Valley.